Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome back for day 8 of the holiday card series for 2021. Yes, this video is not live. This is a regular edited video. I will be back to my Wednesday live stream next week. For today's video, I'm going to be creating, I just love this combination of a watercolor background with an embossing folder and snowflakes and sequins. I've done it in the past and I'm going to be doing it again today. You can't go wrong with this particular combination of supplies. Just change up the orientation of your card, change up the colors. It's beautiful every single time. Let's get into it. For my card today, I'm going to be using a brand new embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp. It is called Snowflake Visions, and it just came out today. And I'm pairing it with some new dies from Simon, the Aurora Snowflake and the Harmony Snowflakes, which actually is 3 snowflakes altogether. I'm using some Fabriano Artistico extra white cardstock today, or watercolor paper, I should say, and I'm taping it down to a board so that I can create a painted watercolor ombre background. I really wanted it to be simple, going from like a more intense red or almost a magenta to a pale pink to white. So I'm using my Magello Mission Gold paints today and a 1-inch wide flat brush from Royal and Langnickel. And I'm starting out with full intense color at the top, straight from the palette. And then I'm going to tip my board and rotate it. I'm going to swish my brush in water and come right back and kind of pull from that color at the bottom. I'm going to swish my brush again so it's really clean, so it's barely any paint on the brush, and then I'm going to walk it all the way down to the very bottom. And that's how you get a really even coating of color. And having the board tipped up helps the color kind of pull to the bottom with gravity. I'm using my heat tool to speed up the drying process. It also locks the colors in place so they don't move around anymore. I'm going to do a second layer just to intensify the color, and I'm going to do the same exact steps, exactly how I did it the first time. Starting with that really intense color straight from the palette, and I'm putting it at the bottom. And then I'm going to swish my brush in my water and come right back in and pull from that area, bringing it up a little bit. I'm going to grab more water on my brush, clean it off some more, pull that from the top, and then trying to get a completely clean brush, all just water, and then I'm going to walk it back down to the bottom. Now you'll notice that there's not a real smooth transition right there in the middle. So something you can do to help get the colors kind of moving and transitioning a little bit better is by tipping your board on its side. And that's going to make it so all of the colors try to go down, to the end instead of going from the other direction. So I just added a little bit of water right there in that middle section, and it softened those colors. And now I can tip it back and heat set it to lock in that color transition. That's the easiest way that I've come across to do kind of this very faded ombre effect. I really love how it turned out. Sometimes people call this a gradient. Ombre, gradient, both work. I'm using the A2 layers dies from Waffle Flower. I'm going to cut my watercolor panel down to an A2 card size. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm cutting it down at this point because the embossing folder I'm using, it embosses exactly an A2 card. So I need to have this cut down so it fits inside the embossing folder. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is the Snowflake Visions embossing folder, and it is so absolutely beautiful. I'm going to close it up and then put it through my Anna Griffin Empress machine. Now what works for this machine is the embossing folder and then just one plate, and that'll feed right through the die cutting machine beautifully. I don't know what it is for other die cutting machines, but for the Empress, that's what works. So now we have that really beautiful embossed background. So now I've got the Aurora Snowflake and the Harmony Snowflakes, the three of them. I'm ready to die cut them, and I'm using magenta glitter paper from Simon Says Stamp. At the time, I thought I might also use gold, but you'll see in the end here that I really only use the magenta snowflakes. Ran that through my die cutting machine and then punch the snowflakes out from the back with a craft pick. That's what I found worked the best to get these out of that glitter paper. Punching them from the back is a little bit easier to see them as well, because on the glitter side, your eyes can just go kind of buggy trying to see where everything's cut. So after I had my snowflakes, I decided to die cut my greeting. I'm using the Peace, Love, Hope, Joy die cut from Simon. This is one that I created with my lettering. And I cut that out 4 times out of some white cardstock so that I could stack them together to make a really substantial greeting. So I just used some honeybee precision glue on the back of each one of these until I had all 4 stacked on top of each other. And this really makes it stand out. It's nice and thick. And I love that this greeting is all in one piece, so it's much easier to glue everything together. So now I'm going to start placing things on my card front. I'm going to adhere my watercolor and embossed panel to the front of a card. I've already prepped a card base out of some Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock. I put some Tombow extreme adhesive on it and then pressed my embossed panel right down on top. I'm positioning the magenta snowflakes. At this point, I decided I only want to use the magenta and at the top of the card. And then I'll eventually put my greeting on the top there. So these snowflakes were super easy to adhere. I just used some tweezers to hold the snowflakes while I applied little dots of liquid glue. And I like to use liquid glue because that gives me a little bit of wiggle time to kind of move things around and get it positioned just right before I press it completely down onto my card and let the adhesive dry so it's permanent. I adhered the largest snowflake, and then I adhered the other snowflakes, ending with this kind of medium-sized snowflake up near the top left corner of the card. And I'll press that down. After I had my snowflakes adhered, I then picked up my greeting with my tweezers once again and put little dabs of glue on the back of the greeting. I did take that greeting and put it right in the smack center of the card, regardless of where the snowflakes were located, because I just wanted the snowflakes to sort of be the background and have the greeting be the main focus. I then cut off the little bits of snowflakes that were hanging off the end so that I have a nice sharp edge around all 4 sides. And then I decided to add some bling. I really debated if I wanted to add sequins or not, and in the end I decided that I would want a little bit of that sparkle. So I'm using 2 different sequin mixes from Little Things from Lucy's Cards. I think one was called Princess and the other was Berry something. I can't remember, but the berry one had these magenta sequins that were the perfect color for the more intense red on my card. So I placed all of those all over the card and then picked them up with a jewel picker, put down a little dab of glue, and then put the sequin back down. And that is the easiest and fastest way that I've discovered to adhere lots and lots of sequins to your cards. So that is the card for today. Look at all of that sparkle. I think it's just magical. And I love this sort of red to pink look. I think it looks fantastic. So what did you guys think of those sequins I added at the end? Did you like having the extra sequins of the sparkle, or was it enough as is? I couldn't decide. I kind of liked the simpleness of it with just the greeting and the snowflakes, but then I also really love all that bling, and I'm so glad that I happen to have kind of that magenta shade of sequins. I think it looks really, really great. So for today's holiday question, I want to hear about your earliest memory of Christmas. When you were a kid, were you coming down the stairs ready to get Santa's presents? Was it going to a mall to see Santa and sitting on his lap? Maybe it's going to midnight mass or going to a church on Christmas Day. Write about your favorite or earliest Christmas memory down in the comments below. I love hearing and reading all of your stories. I do read all the comments. I might not respond to them because there are so many, but I do read them and I love hearing about them and feeling closer to you guys. You guys know quite a bit about me and hear about me and my life, so you probably feel like you know me, but I want to know about you guys. So let me know in the comments. Tell me your earliest Christmas memory. I'll be back on Friday with day 9 of the holiday card series. We're moving right along. We're going to be at day 9, so come back on Friday. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.